Blade, how do I set my wild card? You go into Diamond Dynasty and then into Manage Squad. Once you're inside of Manage Squad, you go up to where you can change the squad that you are currently playing with. Once you click on that, you are going to go to the cogwheel. At the cogwheel, you're going to press Generate Best Season 3 Squad, because in Season 3 is where the wild card will appear. Now, in the top left, you will see that Wild exists, and then you'll be able to click on it and it'll explain to you what it is. But let's say I wanted to replace Aaron Judge with a wild card. I would then go ahead and select on Aaron Judge, and you will see that on the top right, if you press on R2, it changes from Season 3 to Wild, and now these cards are from Season 1 and are eligible in Season 3, but you can only use one wildcard card at a time. You press it and boom, you will see something prompt up saying activate wildcard. You press activate as wildcard, and then the card will be labeled inside of your squad as the wild card. I was asked how to complete the June monthly awards program the fastest way possible, and the first thing we must realize is that there are 2 tasks that are optional, and these tasks will give you a total of 20 program points if you go ahead and complete them. That means that with 20 extra program points, you can either decide not to do 10 moments or not to do 4 of the stat PXP missions, or you mix and match as long as you get to 20 program points that you go ahead and suffice by completing the 2 optional tasks. Now, when it comes to the optional tasks, I highly suggest not doing the June Tops Now optional task if you are not at least halfway there by the time you get to this video, because if you're not halfway there and you haven't been keeping up, it is going to be too much work in order for you to be able to get it done. And if you don't have at least 60,000 stubs laying around, then completing the exchanges is not going to be worth it either. Do me a solid and hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. We will be bringing out the Conquest and Showdown guide soon. Hopefully one of the 2 is out tomorrow, and then the following one is out on Monday, so stay tuned for that. We stream every single day on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern, except for Tuesdays. Those are our days off. You can find that link as well as many other links inside the description. If you don't have those things done, step number 1 is going to be to do the moments. By doing these moments, we are going to be able to obtain 46 program points. Within those 46 program points, you are going to be able to get 14 program cards. Inside of these 14 program cards, you are going to get 7 pitchers. The reason why I say 7 pitchers is because inside of this 97 overall pack, you want to pick up Kim as one of the first 2 options you get, and then it doesn't matter whether you get a starting pitcher or relief pitcher, because there are going to be a ton of them already inside of your squad. But you are going to get 7 pitchers. 2 are going to be starting pitchers and 4 are going to be bullpen arms minimum, and then you get to decide whether you add a starting pitcher or bullpen arm in the second 97 overall pack. And then the other 7 are going to be hitters. You're going to get 2 right fielders, 2 second basemen, a catcher, a shortstop, and a third baseman. So if you're doing team affinity at the same time, you will go ahead and fill out the remaining 2 slots. When doing the moments, there are some moments that I want you guys to pay close attention to. For example, Guidry's Guide to Pitching. You have 3 innings to strike out 5 hitters without giving up a run. If you pitch the first inning and you do not get 1 strikeout, I highly suggest you go ahead and restart it and start at the first inning again. You want to get a minimum of 1 strikeout in that first inning, because if you do not, then that means with the remaining 2 innings left, you have to go ahead and get yourself 5 out of the 6 outs to be strikeouts. And if you weren't able to do it in the first 3 hitters, then it's very unlikely you're going to do it within the last 6 hitters. When it comes to moments that require you to get total bases or multiple hits inside of 1 game, then I highly suggest restarting until you get at least a double or a hit if it's a multiple hit moment inside that first plate appearance. That way it makes it easier in your second plate appearance or third plate appearance, and you're not reaching for a home run in each one of those plate appearances. In moments where you do not need to get a a certain amount of strikeouts within a certain amount of outs, or moments that you are not restricted and where you can't walk a hitter, I highly suggest walking the first batter. That way, if the pitcher has a long delivery to home, when he pitches from the stretch, it usually is a lot easier and it makes it a little bit more time effective for you. The only downside to this is if you're a bad pitcher with a runner on first, and if you can't give up a run, then it makes it easier for a bloop to go ahead and move the runner into scoring position, and then another bloop score that runner in. So just keep that in mind. But at the difficulty that you are going to be pitching, it's going to be easier rather than harder for you to go ahead and complete this while walking the first hitter. With any home run moment, if you are struggling with zone, I highly suggest just switching to directional and then pointing the arrow up so your hitter is trying to hit a fly ball. If you catch anything hanging and the hitter has good power, he more likely than not is going to hit either a warning track shot or a home run. Inside of Managed Squad, we're simply just going to replace the commons or whatever team you have right there with the players that you have obtained from completing the monthly awards program, as well as team affinity players. You're going to keep track of the stat missions or PXP missions you are completing, and once you have completed it, you want to make sure that you instantly replace those players by either players on the bench or as soon as the game finishes with players that you still need to work on, either for team affinity or players that you unlock as you are completing this monthly awards program. The fastest ways to complete stat or PXP missions are going to be inside of single player modes. In particular, it's going to be inside of play versus CPU. Now, if you are working on pitching missions at the same time as hitting missions, then I would highly suggest playing at home. It doesn't matter what team you end up facing, but I usually like facing a team that has bad defense. That way it's a lot easier for me to get extra base hits, and that way we also get more PXP by driving in more runs. We are going to play as home. If you have the PXP Stadium downloaded, or any stadium like the Costco Stadium that is glitchy on current gen, in order for you to go ahead and hit unlimited extra base hits since they have short walls, use that. But if you are on last gen, then I would highly suggest going into the minor league stadiums, and the minor league stadium that I find best, even though there are a couple that have great elevation, is Capitol Lane Park. This plays just like Parallel XP Park. The elevation is crazy, and anything that you are even close to is usually a home run, if not a gapper inside the shot or inside the gap. Still inside of play versus CPU, if you are focusing on hitting PXP or stat missions, you are not going to play at home. Instead, I want you to face the Colorado Rockies as away. And just in case we don't get to the 8th hitter for PXP purposes, I want you to place a pitcher at the 5th slot, meaning that when they rank the overalls from 1 through 5, he is the 5th worst overall. That way you also face the Rockies' 5th worst overall pitcher. I want you to place a pitcher that you need either stat or PXP missions there, just in case, so we can simultaneously work on two things at once if it comes down to it. So you would select the 5th pitcher, and then ideally, since you're playing on rookie difficulty, what you would want to do is get to the 8th hitter. Once the 8th hitter completes his plate appearance, whether he walks, strikeouts, or hits a fly out, whatever it is, you can quit out and you will get all of that PXP from 1 through 8. If you continue batting around, feel free to do so if you're working on all 9 getting PXP, but as soon as the 3 outs are up inside the top of the 1st, as long as your 8th hitter has had a plate appearance, you can quit out and get PXP. If you are working solely on stat missions, as soon as there are 3 outs, or as soon as whatever player you are working on the stat missions for has his at-bat completed, you can quit out and the stat missions will count. A lot of people ask, why wouldn't I just work on pitching missions at the same time as doing this? Well, you wouldn't want to do it away. You'd rather do it at home. That way, the pitcher can be the first one to get the PXP missions out of the way, and also you get to designate a stadium that is much more vulnerable to home runs. Also, the reason why you would only do hitters here is because if you are an above average, even average players or below average players, if you get to the 8th hitter and he completes that plate appearance, then it saves you a lot more time from having to pitch. Our last note when it comes to this monthly awards program is simply saves. If you are looking to complete this, there are a couple of ways that you can get saves. One is if you're playing against the CPU, if you bring in a reliever and he pitches the 7th, 8th, and 9th, as long as you were leading before he came into pitch and he did not give up the lead, that will count as a save. Option number 2 is going inside of Conquest or mini seasons. If you bring in a reliever to pitch in the 3rd inning of Conquest and the game is within 3 runs, then that reliever is going to be credited with a save. If it is a 4-run ball game, you can intentionally walk the hitters or purposefully throw it down the middle so the CPU can hit a fly ball and then purposefully miss it and make the game a 3-run game, allowing the CPU to have an inside the park home run because you purposefully missed the ball. Then you can bring in a reliever since the game is within 3 and go ahead and also get yourself a save. If you do not want to mess up any of the offline stats of any of your pitchers while giving up the runs, then what I would highly suggest for you to go ahead and do is go into your managed squad, and inside of your managed squad have 1 to 2 common bullpen arms that you will bring in so they purposefully throw the game until it's within 3, and then you can use whatever pitcher it is that you are either working on the stat mission for, or just go ahead and get even more PXP because relievers get more PXP whenever they get a save rather than just pitch the last 3 outs of a blowout game. Last but not least, this event is also going to be very beneficial if you want to complete the program and you don't want to mindlessly grind against the CPU. By playing in this event, every win that you get is going to be +1 program point towards the program, and you are going to be allowed to use your Tops Now cards as well as the monthly award cards. So you are going to be working on those stat and PXP missions while playing online, and not only going for diamond rewards inside the streak rewards, but inside of this reward path as well, getting more experience and stubs. But this is not the most effective or fastest way to do it, as sometimes you face people that are griefers and take forever, or pause the game and take forever that way. If you guys did end up enjoying today's content, please make sure to hit that like button or subscribe button, notification bell. We will have our Conquest and Showdown guides out shortly, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Check out the description for the Twitch. We stream each and every single day at 9 p.m. Eastern except for Tuesdays. Those are our days off. Have a blessed day and night. Stay positive, stay safe, stay blessed, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace out.